What's up, everyone? Happy Friday. You made it. It's the Friday Live with Lauren show. We're back. If you were here last week, I wasn't here. My plane didn't have enough fuel and we were delayed. So I didn't get to be with all of you. And it was a really weird Friday for me. I'm so happy to be back with you guys. Apologies to Will McGee, who did not get to make it on. Will, you were going to get you on in the future, I promise. But the show must go on, and I'm so excited for today. Y'all, it feels so good to be back. Okay, you know the deal. One, if you're here, did LinkedIn tell you we were live? I didn't get a notification. So would you share the show? Please, please, please be a homie. Share the show. Okay. And while you're doing that, tell us where you're joining us from. Like I said in my post today, if you don't comment, we don't see you. This is not an audio event. We don't know you're there. We want to be friends with you. We are nice. We promise. Just don't ask us if we are doing well in an email. Okay? Deal. So please, please, please comment. Tell us where you're joining us from. I'm going to get our special guest out here. Let me find. Where's Melissa? There's Melissa. What's up?
Here, what's up? So happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
I'm so happy that you are joining us today. I'm going to switcheroo us. Oh, I don't know what I just did. I just live screen. I don't know what I'm doing. My mouse is not working here. Let's switch. There we go.
Nice.
All right. Got you. And then I would like to ask you, Melissa. See, I was talking to Melissa right before we went live. I'm like, I produce my own show. Something's going to go wrong. And then I jinx myself. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. And what went wrong was my mouse died. So here we go. Let's talk to Melissa. Melissa, please tell us a little bit for the people who don't know, which if y'all don't know, what are you doing? Go follow Melissa right now. But Melissa, can you give us a little background, a little intro? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, Melissa Rosenthal. I'm like a disruptor at heart. I love all things brand, creative, building, and really disrupting industries. That's kind of what drives me and fuels me every day. I started my career off in media. So I was number 10 at a company called BuzzFeed, very early digital media company that ended up becoming quite big, which is really funny. Fun, really amazing ride. It was wild, like the wild west of the internet. So you can blame all those viral memes and lists on me partially. And then, after BuzzFeed, I went to go help start a company called Cheddar, which was a live media news network, which focused on technology and finance. We kind of tried to make finance like sexy. I was like the brand focus, and we sold that to a cable company. And I did not want to work for a cable company because that's not my brand. You can't picture me working at like a 15,000 person cable company. I could not picture myself doing that either. And then I moved over to B2B SaaS, a very natural progression of a career in media. You just go to tech and SaaS. But I wanted to go to SaaS because I felt it was really boring, and I like the challenge of trying to make boring industries non-boring, and really challenging the status quo. So I went over to ClickUp and built a really fun, cool, energetic, vibrant, bold, colorful brand that I would have wanted to engage with. And the company's great, the product's amazing, and why should it not have a really cool and fun brand to be able to support that and really own the humor side of work? Because I think like when you're selling project management software, you get to not take yourself so seriously because you're not saving lives. And when we can admit that, we can have a lot of fun. So I wanted to do that. And now I've started my own company called Outlever. And we turn brands into the number one news source in their industry and allow them to really have ownership of the conversations that are important to them and important to their customers. And that's who I am and what I'm doing.
I love it. You guys might have heard of some of those companies, maybe interacted with them once or twice. I know back in the day, you probably were the reason I engaged with all of those BuzzFeed lists, let's be honest. I think it's so exciting that you really created something that you were proud of for other people, and now you're doing it for yourself. I love that. Something like I feel like I did a little bit of too. Super excited to have you here. Everybody, you can ask your questions in the chat. I'm not promising we'll get to all of them. We got a lot of hot topics, but I do want to say what's up. We got a lot of people tuning in today. Melissa, thank you so much. I know it's Melissa's last day off before she got to go back to work, and you're giving us some time. So thank you. Yes, play the music. Andrew, come hang out. Carrie, what's up? Thanks for telling me it's you. I know LinkedIn never does. Boston in the house. Mark is local to me in Florida, San Antonio. Okay, Lindsay said LinkedIn did know we were live today. Yay! LinkedIn's being a homie. Michelle Craig. What was that? Hold on.
I thought that maybe was like a special part of the show. Or something like pops out.
Mm-mm. I don't know what's going on. Okay, we're not going to say hi to anybody else. I'm going to mute myself. We're going to let Melissa talk while I figure it out. Melissa, we're going to take it away in topic 1.
Okay.
Because we don't know what else to do right now. Let's get into owning the conversation, why it's crucial for brands. Let me mute myself and figure out what's going on. Thanks, Melissa.
Yeah, I'll take it from here. This is a great topic. I think it's really important. I think my career and everything I've done to date has really been like, how do you get in front of the right people, having the right conversations? Like that's what it takes to be able to buy and sell and really facilitate that. And it's really important to start thinking about that very early on. And I think a lot of people are now with thought leadership and content creation and everything that's sort of going into the marketing function. But like, how do you have true ownership over that conversation? And there are a couple ways you can do that. One is really building like a brand that can speak holistically to an industry or a topic. At ClickUp, we really focused on this like a lot. And it'd be like, how do we own the conversation around work? Like everything happening around work, meetings, like shitty meetings, things that you don't want to like be doing at work, the really annoying parts of your day, the like bullshit managers, like everything that like is part of work culture that like, if you're a company, you're like, oh, we're not going to talk about that. But the reality is like, everyone wants to talk about that. Like, what is the water cooler style of content that we can own to really be able to like newsjack the entire conversation around work? So we did that through humor. We did that through self-awareness, through, content around like the fact that like, if you have 50 people in a meeting and they all make a certain amount of money, you're spending like $100,000 on that meeting. And like, that's insane. Like we should get out of meeting culture. It just really like, why not talk about the things that actually matter to your customers in the long tail? I think some people are very focused on like the high intent, the bottom of funnel, but like the reality is to own the conversation and to build a brand that really means something to people is the fact that you have to be able to like talk about it high level. So that was kind of like a part of what we did at ClickUp. It was really the genesis of that. And it came from a lot of my days at BuzzFeed and understanding like why people share content. How do you own the conversation in different areas? And that was one piece of it. And then at Outlever, like that was really kind of the culmination of my entire career. It's like, how do we do that at scale and be able to kind of productize that for other companies? And, when I was creating news companies and media companies, effectively, like we're creating those so that we're the middleman between the advertisers that want to align themselves with that content and being the media company that has that content. And yeah, at Outlever, we said, well, why is there a middleman? Like, it doesn't really make sense. The way that people consume the news is not the same. And there's no reason why brands can actually be the news. So what we do is we basically create you into a news publishing room in a box where you don't have to do anything on your side. We kind of do all of that for you. But we allow you to own these really amazing topics that are sort of like direct but also tangential to what the business is, and you can speak to everything in your industry that you want to own that's important to you, that's important to your customers, because that's what they care about on a daily basis. And I think it's really important to be able to, even in a long-term sell to them, understand what they care about and speak that language.
Yes. Okay. Let's see if we can talk and it be okay now. All right. I want to talk about how important it is to be transparent with the people that you're advertising to, that you're speaking to. I know being a brand, owning the conversation. What is something that people can keep in mind when they're doing this? They're trying to have that water cooler humor, all of those things, right? Like, but they need to still be very transparent with the people that they're advertising to. How do you think people maintain that authenticity?
I think it's just being out there. Like, we're a company selling something. Everyone is selling something. And we lean into it. I always lean into it. I think shying away from it is weird. And also people really expect, like, they want real and like I hate authenticity. I was actually going to try to not say that word because it's awful. But like people want real. And I think like being real and understanding that things are brought to you on behalf by a company, or that company is in the end selling you something, but you're laughing along the way. Like, who cares? So yeah, I mean, I'm all for it. I think like being as upfront and as transparent as possible. Like at Outlever, like we want people to know that the brand is the news, but the news is the news. They're not talking about themselves. They're talking about what's happening in the world and their world. So there's no reason to like put it under, and some companies will be working with, and they'll be like, should we put it under like a subdomain where like it's kind of like a another brand, or we come up with another header for it so people don't know it's us. And I'm like, no, lean into it. Like lean into the fact that it's Sendoso coming up with the content, just to, give your advertisers a, but like lean into the fact that the brand is actually creating the content. I think that no, if it's valuable and if it provides value, then like it doesn't matter. And I think it helps. And I think getting that first impression, and if it's a good one, is really important.
I think that's true. I'd rather people be honest and upfront about what they're doing, what they've got going on. The few brands that I do really like to follow and interact with are the people who are very upfront. They're very in your face. But let's be honest, some people don't work for themselves, right? Like you have started your own company. I work for myself. What do you say to people who are like, yes, Melissa, I want to do this, but I work for people who are not on board? How do you maybe help them steer these conversations where this could be something that could be tangible for them?
I think you have to say, like, it's 2024. People are really smart. They can cut through the bullshit. They can see what's actually happening. And the fact that they're going to find out that like you're not being honest about something is the worst thing that you can do for a brand impression. Like having someone realize that they're sort of being advertised to or like lied to or misled, if that's the ultimate outcome because you don't want to be upfront with what you're doing, I feel like that is just such a weird, maybe antiquated strategy that needs to be rethought. I mean, I think it's what kind of like trust are you trying to build with your customer, right? Like trust is the basis of everything. You want to be a good partner. You want to be a good service provider. You want to be good at like you're a service. Everyone is a service business. I don't care if you say that you're not. And would you lie to someone? So I feel like being upfront with everything is very, I don't know, it's important for me. And I think like the recommendation is just like, how do we want, like, what is the end goal of how people want to perceive us when they're working with us? And if we've misled them to any sort of point, I just can't see that going well. So
100%.
trust is important.
How do you want people to feel at the end of the day when they walk away from that deal they just did with you, right? You want them to feel like they want to do it again. I like it, Paul. Thanks for showing up in the comments, Paul. He says, Melissa, I couldn't agree more. If you have to tell people you're authentic, that's a red flag for me. I should be able to tell from your interacting with you. That is so true.
Yeah. And I think also just one more thing about that. And like, and I feel like the brand always has to connect. Like even now that I'm like running my own company, like personal brand is really important. I believe in like founder brand. But if my founder brand on LinkedIn is different than like who I am in interviews, is different than who I am when you're messaging me, isn't there like a little bit of like an inauthentic like way there? Like I think everything kind of needs to connect through and through. And if you're not going to be the person that is the person that shows up in your DMs, or the person that shows up when you're working with companies, or the person that connects that throughout, and I don't think it will work. So that applies to everything, right? That brand touch point has to be what it is at every touch point, not just when you're marketing yourself at a high level. And then I think that applies to any company, industry agnostic, size agnostic.
Yes. Industry agnostic. I think that's so important. If you're watching today and you're not in B2B SaaS, this is still for you. We're going to cover a lot of that. Yes, people are in SaaS today, but they probably sold something else or came from a different industry before they got there. So I like to call them SaaS holes. I understand you're on here and you think you have to have worked in SaaS, but you don't. This show's for you too. Stick around. Really quick, I need to go back because obviously I forgot. Well, I didn't forget, but I had some microphone issues. Y'all, you can comment Sendoso. I know Melissa shouted them out a second ago. You can comment hashtag Sendoso to win some wine today. You do have to be in like a specific location. If it doesn't work for you, you're just gonna have to gift it to someone else. But let me show you. Do you guys want to see this? Look, a package of wine in cans. In my head, I'm like, I could take this to the beach. It would be yummy. Okay, maybe I shouldn't say that. Are you supposed to take wine to the beach? I don't know. Whatever. You can comment hashtag Sendoso. So what's up? Thanks, Sendoso, for being a sponsor. And really quick shout out to BetterLeap as well. If you're a recruiter on the call, BetterLeap's how I source all my candidates, get accurate data information. Yes, this is a sponsored show. I need to pay for all the tools for this show, y'all. I don't make money off of it, but it pays to keep it going and for us to have time to do this on Fridays. So, all right, we are going to move on to the second topic of the show, which I think a lot of people who are watching this today, they understand they need to do marketing. They understand they need to make sales. They don't understand how to use marketing to focus on return on investment and actually merge these two departments together so that they're cohesively working as one. So I'd love it if you would give us some hot takes, your opinion on how you can actually create return on investment, use this in your marketing and sales channels. Take it away.
Yeah. I mean, ROI is obviously really important. Like early stage, it can be fun to just mess around and like come up with things and be like, we're doing this and this. And then ultimately, like you're building a business and you have to understand how the money that you spend actually makes you money. So yeah, I mean, ROI is important. I think that it is even more important to work with your sales partners. And I made a post about this like a few months ago, but I when I was on the marketing side, I didn't really understand what salespeople go through. So at Cheddar, I became the chief revenue officer because I really wanted to like become more well-rounded. And I felt like in my career, if I could combine sales experience with marketing experience, I would be like much more like just able to have empathy for people on both sides of that job because it's really tough. And I understand that like the selling mindset is very different than sometimes the marketing mindset. So I believe in the convergence of those two things. And I know, Lauren, we chatted about this a little bit, but I actually do believe that they can live under the same roof. And I think that might be the hot take. That might be not the hot take anymore because of people are kind of moving into that direction. But, at ClickUp, like they do now. I think sales and marketing are under the same umbrella post me, but pretty smart. But what we were doing is when we had our most successful marketing, dare I say, campaigns, because I also think that's a dirty word. But when we did have our most successful marketing campaigns, they were driven by a lot of really interesting sales insights. And I think that was when we found it to be most successful. We would create a campaign based on the insights we were hearing in market. And I'll give one like actual example. So we were talking to our sales team and they came up with some data and they said, hey, when we go up against Jira in market, we are winning 9 out of every 10 deals. And the reason why this is happening is because people are really upset with Jira in general. They hate Jira. They hate Jira's pricing. And Jira is now doing this thing where they're moving their on-prem servers to the cloud, which is insanely disruptive, and they're making it XX more expensive. And we're like, okay, great insights. If we're winning all these deals, we should go heavy on thinking about how do we start marketing ourselves against Jira. And then we worked with them on all the pain points, all the reasons why people were switching, all the industry high-level sentiment about why people hate Jira in general. And we kind of worked into a really well-rounded marketing campaign. I mean, and it was everything. It was, lifecycle marketing to existing people on our platform. It was net new asset creation. It was thinking about how do we position this in our product marketing? How do we create, sales collateral? How do we then create creative marketing videos that were focused on both brand awareness and direct response? How do we have things that potentially go viral? So we started to think about this campaign, but very holistically, and it was driven by sales insights. And then when we could report back and people could mention, hey, I saw that ad about Jira, blah, 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 blah. We're dealing with the same things. We're actually able to really attach clear ROI to that campaign. And it was also driven by sales insights. So just a way of thinking about it. Like I think data and insights coming from different parts of your business can certainly like fuel what your marketing looks like. And I think it definitely should. Like you should take those triggers, your pain points. Obviously you're going to experiment to see what works. You have to, chicken or the egg kind of a thing. But once you start to do that and you're able to see those insights, you can create really, really great marketing.
I love it. Can you give us an example of some of the insights that you're tracking, some of the KPIs you're tracking right now to make sure you're actually getting an ROI?
Well, we're not marketing. I am my marketing. I am inbound on my own marketing right now, which is great. Eventually, we will be doing obviously much more. We're now a team of 8 people, moving very fast, working on getting customers live. We are booked with demos. So it's a good, very high class problem to have. But as a marketer, I know that I will have that. But what our marketing is doing now is actually just informing our product a little bit better. Like we're listening to our customers and we're like, okay, we should definitely work that into our product roadmap and all of that. So the marketing pitch is informing the product. for us.
Okay. And since you're talking about your company and growing, can you tell us that you're hiring right now? What are you hiring for?
I'm hiring right now. We are hiring a bench of very talented freelance journalists. So if you are a freelance journalist, we have a head of editorial we just hired from Bloomberg. We have amazing people from CNBC, Cheddar, my old days at Cheddar. So we're building an amazing bench of journalists. So if you're a journalist or you have journalistic experience, come to me. And then we're hiring 2 front end developers, 2 back end developers, and that's it for now. Maybe a lot more in the next month, but that's what the immediate hiring needs are.
Awesome. And is it remote?
Yes, all remote. I only believe in remote work.
All remote. So if you are interested in any of those things, you can message Melissa. You can send me an email. I'm happy to connect you. Just tell Melissa you heard about it on the show. Okay. We are going to keep moving. I want to talk about in terms of ROI and all of this. How important is it to have personalized marketing and messaging in conversion rates? How should people, if they're like, Melissa, I have a very limited budget when I'm doing my marketing, how can people make sure that they're advertising to the right people to get the right conversions? What do you tell people for that?
Yeah, I mean, it's so weird because there's this conversation happening now around personalization, which there's a level of I think when we go hard on something as a marketing industry, we decide to do it to a point where it's really ineffective and also really weird. So I think personalization is very important when you're talking about the pain points of that person, their business, their industry, what they're dealing with, things that you're seeing in market that can map back to them. I think that is great. When I'm hit with a message, a vendor message about that, or someone that's trying to sell me on something and it hits that, I'm awesome. We'll talk. And I'm very true to my word on that. If you send me something great that really maps back to what I'm focused on, awesome. If you send me on oh, I see you went to college in this place, and I see you live here, and I see you went out to dinner the other night, I'm what is that? Kind of creepy. Doesn't really resonate with me. I'm are you stalking me, or do you want to sell me something? So I think that there's just a level of personalization where we've taken it to the level of knowing what that person does on their weekends, which great when you have an existing customer relationship with that person. I think that's very important. It can be very cool. You can do a lot of really great things and just show them that you're more than just a vendor, you're a person. But I think in conversion and actually being able to personalize, you have to really be able to speak to that person's pain points. And, at Outlever, the way that we think about sales is we think about BDR, SDR, the entire sales motion. You have to be a journalist. You are doing research on that person's pain points, their needs, their industry. And I think the more journalistic you can be in your approach to sales and personalization, that's when you're going to actually see the conversion rates. And I think when people kind of spray and pray and they're it's not working, it's because you're not doing the right thing. And we have to think at the end of the day, we are people, we're all very busy. We're probably looking at something for 5 seconds. So hit it really hard with what the pain points are and what that person's going to resonate with.
I love this. Superficial personalization is way worse than no personalization at all. Cool, you have software. Scrape my profile and find my alma mater.
Yeah, and it's so saturated. Everyone's doing that now. It's not novel, and it's the commoditization of that is going to break the outbound motion, which means actually maybe it's good because the things that are actually real, where you want to talk to that person about something real, the podcast motion is fucking amazing, which is sort of what we're productizing at Outlever in a journalistic way. But get people talking about what they want to be talking about. Open up a conversation very naturally. Find their pain points. Find the things that matter to them as what matters to their customers that they want to speak to. I think that's the future of sales marketing, sales-led marketing.
I think it's the future of a lot of things. I think that it's so important to be able to be a good storyteller, right? We talk about it in sales. We talk about it in marketing. I talk about it in candidates, in job interviews. Yeah. How are you telling your story? How are you answering questions? What is your tonality? What do you look like? How are you showing up? How are you presenting yourself? Yeah. The story matters, but there's so many pieces of it. And it's just so important to lean into it. And y'all, if you're not good at it, it's a muscle. You can grow it. You can work at it. Put yourself in uncomfortable situations and lean into the things that are uncomfortable so you can get better at them. I know that it's scary, but if you're being brave, it's going to feel like fear. That's part of it. So do the scary things and tell the story and ask for feedback. That's the other thing. Somebody who's watching, Melissa Houston, she's working on a chapter for a book right now. She had somebody read it to her so she could hear it from someone else's perspective. I was like, that's so smart. I wouldn't have thought to do that. But I love that. Like, listen to it from someone else's view. Have somebody else listen and really get involved and work on making it better. I think that's the other thing. A lot of us were just used to like this mass AI, it's personalized, but it's not personalized. Like, work on being the person who stands out. And you really will. So here, I don't know who this is, but they love your perspective on personalization. Very important. There you go. Thank you, LinkedIn user. We appreciate you. Paul says that he's always looked at marketing as transparency. The word transparency has become a buzzword. What do you think about that?
Yeah, but everything becomes a buzzword. You actually have to just do it. I think like when people talk, like they can talk about things ad nauseum, but like when you actually are doing it like right, that's when it breaks through. I actually hate like the idea of just like talking about something to death because like it's like transparency, transparency. That's why I don't like even like buzzwords are so gross because the more you say them, the more they are become meaningless. And it's just like do the thing, and then reference the thing that you're doing, and like that's what is the example. Just like stop saying transparency and show us what transparency is in real life, in like real time.
I love it. I'm going to go back after this episode and pull all the words that Melissa says you cannot use or that we should get rid of. And these are the X, don't use anymore. And we're going to make a whole post of them.
Can you imagine like people going to the meeting and like just, and I think people have probably made videos about this, but like you just using buzzwords like to describe everything, like, yes, like I think we're on the same page. Let me circle back. Oh yes, we need to be transparent and authentic. Like, oh my God, like that's Chat GPT. Like are you a person or are you like a book? Like
I would like for someone to pay me to sit in the corner of the Zoom with an air horn, and every time somebody says a buzzword, I get to blow it. That would be my favorite job.
It's a great video. Like everyone would resonate with that because it's like,
okay, Melissa, we're gonna make a video after. Showed it. I think that'd be so funny. Yes, Melissa, thank you for the tip. It does help to hear it back. And Dan, yes, nonprofit world. It is so imperative. I've helped a few people get out of the nonprofit world into SaaS, believe it or not. That was a weird transition. But the storytelling is so important. And I agree, Nate, circle back, transparency and authenticity. We're going to keep saying these words the whole show, and you're never going to say them again after this hour.
Well, you're going to hear yourself saying them and be disgusted with yourself.
Buzzword bingo. Andrew, if you create it, we'll play it. Okay. That's what my mentor told me. Oh, can't see us. Here we go. Show people, don't tell them. Asking has been a weird thing for me. I'm afraid to earn my ask. Okay, that's interesting. Like that. All right, y'all. We are already halfway through the show. We are moving quick. So fast. Okay, let's go back really quick. If you were watching, we've had 9 of you enter so far. Melissa, you got to go on and comment for the wine, #Sendoso. Make sure you're doing that too. It is from Just Enough Wines, Brute Bubbles Set. USA only. Sorry, guys, but you can ship it to somebody in the United States you care about. There's a couple state restrictions. I'm not going to go over all that with you, but you show up, you get some good stuff. I'm going to bring Michelle Craig on for just a moment for High Five Friday. Melissa, I'm going to let you go take a little water break. We'll see you, or whatever break you want. I don't know. We'll see you in like 2 minutes. Y'all, are you having fun? It's Friday. It feels like a Friday. Like things are not going well with the show and like weird things happening. I don't know what's happening. All right. Comment Sendoso. Hashtag Sendoso. Don't forget hashtag or it doesn't work. I'm going to pop this up so Michelle Craig can come on and we'll do a couple high fives and then we'll see you back with Melissa in a couple seconds.
What is up, y'all? It is a High Five Friday. Hopefully my background noise isn't too bad. I'm working from a cafe today. Lauren, I think what's going on with the show is that Daniela Hannah does not appear to be in the comments. So she's our good juju. I don't know what she's doing. She might be packing. She might be moving. But I'm super excited to get into it and share these high fives with y'all. If you are new to the show, basically this is a time where folks submit wins for themselves, like things they're excited about over the week, or shout outs for people in their network. So let's jump in. First of all, we have Alyssa for Bill. I'd like to high five Bill. I'm not gonna say his last name, so I'll mispronounce it, but my husband for always being in my corner and having my back. We love a strong relationship over here. Daniela Hannah, who, like I said, is missing today, for Tabitha, the positivity that she brings to the world, no matter what she faces, and hard times, good times, medium times. She always helps everyone around her and supports everyone around her, and is a strong leader in her business with royalty negotiations. The world needs more Tabithas. Then we've got Lauren for Cassandra and Casey. Cassandra and Casey are two people you should definitely be following on LinkedIn. Y'all, there's a lot of stuff on LinkedIn. These are people you should definitely be checking out. Both are amazing connectors. Casey has an awesome Fun Friday post, and Cassandra posts consistent, actionable content that people can learn from. Lauren's thankful to have them both in her network and recommends that you use your network to meet more amazing people. So quick one today, but always happy to be here. And Lauren, I just want to give you a high five. I just appreciate you. I just appreciate you. Oh wait, let's do it. Can we do it? There we go.
Other way. I don't know, the other way. High five, Michelle. It's so good to have you here. Thanks for tuning in every Friday. And I don't know what cafe you're in, but it looks good. Order an espresso for me.
I got you. Bye, everyone.
Bye. All right. It is 3:32. That's exactly 2 minutes. I did great on the timing. Well, maybe Michelle did great on the timing. I don't know, Michelle. I'm going to take credit for that. Let's get Melissa back out here. Hi.
I'm back.
You're back.
Like I never left.
I know. I'm always like, they're going to take a break. They just sit there the whole time. They're just waiting. Okay. Okay. You can ask questions in the chat. Like I said, we'll answer them if we have them. High five to you. We got everybody in the comments. The 5 or in the cloud to be high fives, whatever. I don't know. Y'all are so fun. I love it. I always tell people the comments are actually like where the magic happens. Yeah. And I can't even really engage with them because I'm so busy doing what I'm doing. But y'all have so much fun in there. You'll connect with the other people in the comments. The people are just so fun on LinkedIn when you actually reach out and find other people who are your people. Y'all, you're going to meet some people who are not your people. 100%. I met some people on LinkedIn. I was like, do not meet the people you care about on LinkedIn. Like, don't meet your heroes. I had 100 people like, who are you talking about? I'm not gonna kiss and tell y'all, but there are some people you should not meet on LinkedIn. I don't actually mean kiss and tell. That came off wrong, but you know what I mean. There's some people on LinkedIn that they look amazing on LinkedIn, and then you meet them in person and you're like, oh, now Melissa wants to know.
That's spicy. That's spicy.
It's true. But then there's some people that you meet on LinkedIn that are the most amazing people you've ever met. And you're like, how have you not been in my life? And I would have never, ever met you had I not started posting on LinkedIn 2 years ago and felt super cringe when I did. This is literally what happened. I felt so cringy the day I made that first post. And I was like, what am I doing? This is awful. And I'm so happy I did it. Look at where we are now.
Come a long way.
We've come a long way since then. All right. We are going to move into topic number 3 today. While we're moving into topic number 3, if you just joined us, you can comment #Sendoso to win some stuff. I'm not even going to tell you what. You should have been here. But let's talk about leadership lessons in media and tech. So Melissa had quite the career in media, if you've been following along. BuzzFeed, ClickUp. You might have heard of some of these companies once or twice. Now she's doing her own thing, but she brought a lot of leadership lessons with her from media into tech, from tech into what she's doing now. I'd love for you to kind of take it away. Tell us what are some of the most important leadership lessons you've learned that other people could really utilize in their career.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, my leadership style is definitely player coach. I am in the weeds with my teams, understanding everything that they're working on. I feel like if you're not that, and maybe like, if you're the CMO of a 15,000 person company, this strategy would not work. So if this is you, don't pay attention to that. But I think being, a player coach is really important. It helps your team respect you. It helps them understand where you're coming from when you give feedback. It makes giving feedback that much easier. And it allows you to really have this open and transparent, communication strategy and leadership strategy with your team. And that's really like who I am, what I bring to the table. I'm very open. I'm very transparent. I want to communicate and have like very honest conversations at all times. Also, so when I have to give people hard feedback, they know where it's coming from. They know it's coming from a good place. They know that I care about them. And a lot of us spend so much time working that, dare another buzzword, because it's like, you don't want to call people this, but your work family becomes your second family, and you work with them so much, and you want to develop long-lasting relationships. Obviously, like, even when they go on to their next job, like, you want them to think highly of you, and you never know what's going to happen. So I always really care about the relationships I built at work, and especially for the people that work for me, and also making sure that they grow in their careers. And I think having people that I can do that with is really important. That being said, like, sometimes it's not a good fit. And, if that person kind of can't adapt to my leadership style, or we don't communicate well, like, it just may not be the right fit for them. And I think picking your company picking your leader is just as important as picking your company, because together we can do amazing things when we have a great communication, a great rapport, good respect, good understanding. And that's not to say I need everyone to be the same person as me. That's like very different. I really value people that are from different backgrounds and what they can bring to the table. But at the same time, there needs to be a centralized way that we communicate, that we understand each other's work, that we have a trust and a rapport, and that I can trust and verify you're doing the work that you say you are.
Yeah. And when you have leaders like that, those are the people that you really put your trust in. I would say you almost put your trust more in the leaders than the company itself. And Darren McKee talks about this a lot. You want to follow the leaders that you really like, because they invest in you, and to feel invested in is something that a lot of employers miss the mark with their employees. So once you've felt it, and once you've had a leader who treats you that way, you want to follow them. So you're going to see a lot of people who say, yes, I have an awesome opportunity with what I'm doing at DocuSign, but Melissa just opened her own thing, and Melissa's made me feel like I was the best employee she ever had when I worked with her before. She's got this software opportunity. I'm going to go work for her now. I'm sorry, y'all, have to throw DocuSign out there, because I could just never get excited about selling DocuSign. No shade to DocuSign. Love when your emails come through with that signed contract, but could never sell the stuff, But people are going to follow people more than they're going to want to stay with a company. We see that with mass layoffs. They talk about that in recruiting a lot. There is no real safety net that you all thought there was. There's not. Yeah. I tell people all the time, even working for myself, yes, things are good. I work really hard, but I always know in the back of my mind, at least if I fail doing something I really wanted to do for the last couple of years. And we'll go back to a paycheck job eventually if we have to, but I'm going to lean into it. And I think that's the thing that I like to tell people is lean into the hard things, push through, because it's easy to be the person who quit. But what happens if you're the person who didn't? What happens if you're the person who pushed through those hard moments? Like, if it was easy, everyone would do it. So push through it. Oh, I love it. Andrew created a bingo card. Y'all go seal it in the comments. This is why y'all are the best. We got it back live. I love it. Okay, Paul says, I've learned that most people will show you what not to do in life. When you meet the ones that show you what to do, stay close.
Yeah.
I like that advice, Paul. My grandmother used to tell me that some people are only here to show you what not to be. And that's
good too, honestly.
That's their whole purpose in life. Yes, Melissa, you get this. Owning your own business, first 5 years are the hardest. Make it through year 1, we're going to have a party. Make it through year 5, we're going to go somewhere.
Vacation?
Oh, more than vacation. We're going to do more than vacation. All right. Any other big lessons specifically that you found in your career from media that really applied to tech or that sector that maybe some of these sassholes didn't really think would apply, but you're like, no, let's have this conversation?
I don't know. This is a weird one. It's not like an exact lesson. It's just sort of like something I experienced, and like, it's fine. This person's probably not watching, but at a company that I was at, we hired like a very big name kind of vanity hire person who came in as a very high level executive. And this person had an amazing resume, like, oh my God, like the biggest companies in the world. And it turns out this person like didn't really even like know how to use email, like could not like do the job at all. And maybe was like so used to operating at like a 30,000 10,000-foot view that they'd never done work in like 10 to 15 years. Like this person did not know how to do work. I'm convinced. And I was like, oh my God, there are people that are potentially too high level for specific roles because they can't change or adapt themselves to that environment. Like we were hiring this person for a startup that was doing very well, that was growing very fast and had 1,500 people, but was not, certainly needed a leader to come in and work. And this person didn't want to do work. Maybe they didn't know how, maybe they didn't want to, I don't know. But I think it's just like hiring people for the right stage of the company and understanding like who's going to come in and make a big impact. And at what stage are you looking? Like, don't hire someone from Netflix because they're from Netflix. If your company needs someone that isn't from Netflix, like, I think it's just understanding the stage of your company, the leaders that you need at what stage, and when they are a good fit and when they are not a good fit. Because I think people have probably experienced this too. You hire big names that don't deliver.
Yeah. Just because they have a big name doesn't mean they can do big things, y'all. A follower count does not mean actual performance metrics. Go ask these people to see their actual phones and how many cold calls did you actually make today if you're going to sit here and post about it 45 times this week. I bet not that many because they're sitting here posting about cold calls, not making them. I always tell people are like, you kind of aren't posting today. What's happening? Some days I post 9 times. Y'all, I have time. Some days I have candidate interviews all day and I can't post for you because we're working.
Yeah,
sorry, that's my little rant of the day, or all the people out here who are talking about it, not being about it. I think it's just important at the end of the day to make sure especially when you're in the role, doing it in the day-to-day, what your true north is. Keep your moral compass. You're going to have a lot of people, especially in tech world, who I've seen some shady stuff in tech, honestly. I've seen some amazing people and I've seen some shady stuff. So keep your moral compass, know what's right, know what's wrong. And I always like to tell people as a recruiter, like, always have the conversation. Keep your opportunities open. I'm a recruiter. I own my own company. Y'all, people still reach out to me and we're like, hey, we're hiring for this. Do I want it? No. Every now and then I have a conversation with someone just to stay fresh, to know what's out there, to know what's on the market. You guys should too. You should always be having conversations. Somebody tell always be closing. I say always be having conversations. So that's my leadership lesson, not just for your next job, but just in general, so you know what's happening, what's going on in the market. Paul says it's why so many people are fooled on social media. It's an illusion. Yes, money's powerful. We're not going to go into that, Paul. That's like a whole nother topic. All right, we're going to move into the last topic of the day, which is building a brand that people want to engage with. Obviously, you are very good at this. You've done this successfully many times. When you first started doing this, was there something that you were like, I'm going to do this specifically? Was it just a lot of testing, new things? Where did you start? And then over time, as you learned how good you were at it and you grew brands, how did you make sure that you were at the forefront of being the brand in your industry that people were interacting with the most?
Great question. I would say a lot of this came from my early days at BuzzFeed, where we were trying to figure out why people wanted to engage with content, and not only engage with that content, they wanted to take that next step and actually share it with someone. Which, when you think about like the action of sharing something, like you are going above and beyond to say, okay, not only am I going to spend time engaging with this, but I'm going to take this piece of content and share it with someone else. And to master that formula, we spent, I don't know, like a very long time trying to figure out what that formula was. And really, it's kind of like what makes something shareable is how does it relate to that person? Is it identity based and driven? Is it educational? Is it humorous? Is it shocking? Is it emotional? Does it restore your faith in humanity? And all these were sort of the key principles and frameworks that we built at BuzzFeed over time that understood why people would share something. And that became very powerful for me because it was like you could almost productize virality by tapping into these emotional points that really resonate with people. And when I was able to do that, it kind of was a superpower of like, okay, I've unlocked something here. In media, it was obviously building the BuzzFeed brand, but then being able to take that and apply it to a B2B SaaS company like ClickUp was really sort of when I saw like, oh, you can apply this superpower to other industries, because it doesn't matter if BuzzFeed was a digital media publisher that touched on, cat lists and dog lists and, things that when you're a left-handed person. Like the core of those principles of why people engage with that and share it are still applicable to B2B SaaS companies in the most simplistic way. It's like, what can you talk about that people want to talk about that they identify with? I had a company the other day that came to me that I was sort of advising, and she was like she's building the Figma for fashion designers. And she's like, how do I build a brand that's like authentic? Ooh, sorry, I said that word. How do I build a real brand that connects with people in a real way? And I'm like, well, because you're trying to steer people away and empower them to be their owners of their own brands within the fashion industry. And what is the fashion industry known for? It's being horrible. So can you empower a space where people can talk open and honestly about the shit they've been through in the fashion industry and create that community that actually can drive the product of having ownership in something that no one else has really been able to have ownership in and has been treated terribly in? And she's like, oh wow, that sounds like a really good idea. Started a podcast where people wanted to come on and have water cooler moments they talked about their terrible experiences within the fashion industry. And it's like, that's the topic you can own, because that's the truest form of what the unified shared experience is for people in your market. And that's sort of what I look at, and then apply that BuzzFeed kind of special sauce on the top of it.
I love it. So you can apply it through different industries, but it's also figuring out what works and then not changing what's not broken, right? Like if it's working, let's figure out how to apply it to what we're doing now in different ways, but let's keep doing the things that work. I see a lot of people who find something that works. They're like, but so-and-so said I need to A/B test, and so-and-so said I need to keep reinventing myself. And I'm like, what? I mean, what? How much engagement were you getting last week versus what you're doing now? Why? It's crazy to me. Can you tell people, obviously you're a great source to learn from, but I think there's a lot of noise when people are building a brand and this is what you should do and you should learn from me and buy my course. And y'all know I'm not a course person. Please don't go buy a course. But can you tell people, if they're really wanting to learn how to do this, other than learning from people like you, and I don't want to pay for a course, where can people really learn how to do this? What are good brands to go look at other than the ones you've mentioned? Where can people go see this for themselves?
Yeah, I think people are gonna be mad. I really do think courses are bullshit. Like, I don't want to have a course because I just want to show people what I'm doing and like let that be the course. And I think learning from others who are doing, and you look at a campaign, you're like, this was really smart. Like, what did they do here? And then you take that initiative to go investigate yourself and maybe lock that in as a blueprint of like, oh, this is inspiring to me. That's what I've done my entire career. It's like, I've never taken a course on this, because a course like also streamlines your thinking into a way where you're trying to copy and paste a blueprint rather than bundling all the things in your ecosystem that inspire you and then taking that and trying to create your own framework. So that's what I believe in deeply. I mean, Liquid Death is really inspiring to me just because they're just able to newsjack and constantly think of trends. And you can tell like when it's doing, like a company's doing really well, that's B2C obviously, but it becomes muscle memory. Like when you're churning out the hits, it's because you're getting it. You've gotten into the rhythm. And I think the companies that are able to do that well consistently are my favorites. And I think, I just follow a lot of different companies doing cool things. There's a company, I love them, Air. They're kind of because they're like the alternative Dropbox for creative teams. And they just do the cool marketing. Like they get it, and they get their buyer, they get their demographic, they get the creative people want to see creative things, and they constantly come out with these cool, weird campaigns that I think really resonate well with their end buyer, and have resulted in a ton of sales and inbound for them. And it's because they're just thinking outside the box. So it's companies like that I follow that I really admire.
I love it. Just how you see people who talk about cold emails all day, right? They're showing pictures of their subject lines and what not to do. I think what Melissa's saying is you can really be inspired by the people who are showing up in your inbox too. If you look at it in a different perspective, shift your mindset, change your life, find the things in your inbox that actually inspire you, figure out why. Like Melissa said, she follows Liquid Death. We already had somebody else comment. Lindsay Dowd loves Liquid Death as well. Here we go. Newsjacking is a term I've been revisiting lately.
Yes.
So true. But you can find the brands that you like. You can see what they're doing, find ways to incorporate it with what you like, and do research onto the things that work. research what they were doing previously. I know when I find a campaign I really like, I typically go back for that company in my inbox and I look through like their last 10 or 15 emails and I try to see what led up to that. Did I open anything? Did I click on anything? Like if you're doing something that I'm actually looking at now, I'm going to go back and see what happened. I want to research into that. I want to do something that works and somebody wants to click and open my email. I want my open rates to go up. But being we're not going to say the word, but being real and being yourself. I always tell people when I first started posting on LinkedIn, and I didn't even know I was building a brand. I think that's a horrible term, building a brand anyway. I didn't know what I was doing. Y'all. I was just trying to like have more people follow me because I'm a recruiter. And I was like, oh, maybe I'll get more job applicants.
I love it. Oh my God. You saying that is just refreshing because it's real, right?
It's so stupid. Whatever. Anyway, but when I started posting on LinkedIn and building the brand, I didn't know what I was doing, but I was just going to be me. And I was going to say things that other people were scared to say. And I owned it in the beginning. Like I have a lot of privilege that a lot of people aren't ever going to have in their life. And I can talk about a lot of things that other people are never going to be able to talk about. If I can use my platform to do that, that realness got me a lot of followers in the beginning. And it wasn't some stupid meme I created. It was me showing up and saying, no, this is bullshit and I'm not going to deal with it and you shouldn't deal with it and you can't comment about it, but DM me and we'll talk about how bad your boss sucks. And you know what I mean? Like we're going to talk about the things that are real. And so many people just can't, especially online, right? I had a conversation a while ago about how is your resume less important because social media is so important? I don't think your resume is less important, but I think social media has always been super important. But now people are getting to really pick what does social media look like in terms of who we are as people in our company and what we represent. I know my social media has had people not work with me, like choose to completely not work with me over what I've posted, what I've said, my viewpoints. And I'm okay with that because 40,000 of you want to engage with me. So I built a brand people do want to engage with. And I think that's important is understanding who your people are and who your people are not. Do you think people are wasting a lot of money trying to sell to people who aren't their people?
I think the people that are your people will buy from you regardless. So when you're real, you will attract the people that are meant to be your partners, your customers, people you should be engaging with, your friends. I think it's just you have to really be your authentic self, and your ecosystem around you becomes that. I don't know anything other than that, honestly. Like I could never pretend I was the person that I wasn't, and like it's like if a job isn't right for me because I can't be myself, then great. Like that's not a job I should have. If this customer doesn't really want to engage with me, then great. Like don't, it is what life is too short to pretend you're someone that you're not.
Life is so short, y'all. You are not promised tomorrow, so enjoy this hour you're spending with us right now. I gotta say, hey, okay, Paul got another good one. Creating a lifestyle, living message, values, talking about it. Yes, live it. Don't just talk about it. Be about it. Nate, I'm so glad you're new here, and thank you so much for tuning in. We're here every Friday at 3. Well, not we, me. I'm sure Melissa might come back if I beg. All right, it is 3:53. Really quick, let's drop this up one more time. Comment Sendoso. 11 of you. Comment Sendoso. So you can win some stuff. I want to send you something. Thank you so much for coming and joining us today. Sometimes we have plants. Sometimes we have alcohol. If you don't want alcohol, show up next week. We'll give away something healthy. And if you really don't want the alcohol, we can switch it out for you. I'll make it happen. But Melissa, I'm so happy you tuned in. Really quick, I know that we have the last it's not a topic, but it's a topic. So I'm going to ask you and put you on the spot today. Can you please share with everybody watching? I don't know how many people LinkedIn doesn't tell me anymore because LinkedIn, your analytics suck. And now that I complained about LinkedIn on LinkedIn, you're all going to kill me for the weekend. It's okay.
Also, the post scheduler is down. I don't know if you.
I don't know. LinkedIn last week was so nice to me. I was like, I'm going to take some time away from LinkedIn. And LinkedIn's like, okay, we'll push your post to everybody. You're off. And then I come back and I start posting all the things, and it's like, no, 91 impressions in 16 hours. And I'm like, okay, love you too, LinkedIn. Whatever. I do love you, LinkedIn. Please give me the video thing on my feed. Please, please, please. I don't know what I have to do. People have had it since April. It's August. And I need it. I post more video than anybody I
Laura
know.
needs the feature.
I need it. Okay, LinkedIn. But please, 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 Melissa, give us your, I'm going to take away ask questions in the chat. We're not asking questions in the chat, y'all. That's over. Don't do that. We're done. But Melissa, please give us your fun Friday fact.
Okay, I don't know how fun this is, but in fact, so Alfred Nobel is best known for creating the Nobel Peace Prize, right? But he's actually, and where he made all of his money, the creator of dynamite. So he's probably a man that has killed a lot of people, but he's best known for his Peace Prize. So that's why marketing is really important.
That is so important and so crazy. I did not know. I learned something new almost every week. Some of y'all don't bring the facts, but Melissa brought the facts. Tell me in the comments, did you know that he was the inventor of dynamite? Wow. I wonder how many people have won the Nobel Peace prize total. I wonder. Now I need to look it up.
Maybe
Now
someone drop that in the comments. I don't know that number, but yeah, when I found that out, I was like, wow, like what an amazing marketing. Like that's amazing. The man that, you know, boom.
I love you guys. Boom. Drop the dynamite. Okay. Now I wish I had like a sound effect thing and I like knew that you were gonna say that beforehand and we like dropped a load of dynamite right in the middle.
I went through all the facts in my head and this was the one that I was like, all right, I'm gonna drop that one.
Here we go. Great explosive fun fact. Here we go. I was today years old. Which is 29 plus a few, but 29 forever. We'll just say that. Melissa, this was so much fun. If you were going to tell anybody one thing before they head into the weekend on this Friday afternoon, what you got?
I think everyone was on LinkedIn because they know the value of it. But just like you, I started building myself. Well, I'm not going to say brand. Building myself on LinkedIn over the past 8 years, and it has compounded in ways that I've never imagined. Every amazing opportunity in my career has really come from LinkedIn. Friendships, partnerships, networking, events, speaking engagements. I could go on and on. It's been the single most valuable thing I've ever invested in. And you know, keep doing it. Even if it feels cringy and it's hard to start, like just keep going. It really is so valuable. I can't recommend anything more. Courses won't do that for you. Posting will.
And posting is free. Courses cost money. Keep your money. You heard it here first. And my friend that I met on LinkedIn, that's my real life friend, Liz, 141 people have won 30 organizations. So dropping it here as of 2023. Okay, here we go. Appreciate you. See, we got everybody. We got it live. You got a bingo card live today. Y'all didn't even know. We are active. We are doing it. This was so much fun. I had fun. I hope you had fun.
I did.
Y'all know what I always say. If you didn't have fun, don't come back. We'll see you next week.